task with different angles. Second, to connect and combine concepts. I will go into that slightly details later. And the ability to challenge traditional assumption. The traditional assumptions means, see, there is a problem, or if you get a similar problem, then you will just find out, obviously, a very stereotype of, solution. So instead of that, those the traditional assumptions, that these are the solutions for this particular problem, and no other thing can be done, and so you have to go out of that. So these are the skills, that require practice to master it. So I mean, these are the tools. I will see that how it will be work. I will just take it slowly. Where it has gone. It looks I'm out. Is it okay now? Can you see? Okay. Now, what are the great myths about creativity? Again, we have to see what the people say about it. And moreover, sometimes anybody can ask, from me, what is the point in to be more creative? Why one has to be more creative? Whatever is going on, it is fine. So anyway, so here, if suppose you are more creative than before, so instead of the problems, you'll see potential. Instead of the obstacles in doing anything, in doing any task, you will find opportunity. You will see opportunities, and instead of challenges, you will see chance to create solution. You will be very positive, and every time you will be just trying to get as many solutions as possible, and out of that you will be able to get the best. Creativity is critically important in everything we do. Now, I'm replying to this of the query, that what is the point in having more and more creative. So in every walk of life, even if you are designing a product, you want to grow your business, you are building alliances with the nation. I mean, in any kind of work you are involved in, either you are doing any college or in the university, or you are in a corporate world, you are doing your own business, you are meeting with the people, everywhere. If you are a more creative person than before, you will be able to perform far better. And these skills can be learned. The most important thing, it is not only we are talking that these are the skills required, we are talking about the tools and techniques of achieving that, inculcating them, and how to use them, those tools and techniques. Can anyone learn creativity? Yeah. So, of course, there is a good news that our brains are built for creative problem solving. This is very natural. We need to acknowledge it. And I mean, the genetic technologists and scientists and the biotechnologies, they just prove it. They have proved, those who are working with the brain, that our brain are built for creative problem solving. And it is easy to both uncover and enhance our natural inventiveness. This is, I mean, very natural, that the brain or the mind wants to do something new. That is very natural. But we have to, many times, we have to uncover that characteristic, or we have to enhance it. See, like the human brain evolved over millions of years from a small collection of nerve cells with limited functionality to a fabulously complex organ that is optimized for creativity. This is how, the brain evolved. Earlier, we had lesser difficulties anyway, but over the years of, over the thousands of years, and it has evolved, and now even we are facing the complex problems, but the mind is prepared and ready for that, to solve those problems in a very novel and effective manner. Creative thinking, I have just told you that if suppose someone is creative, that means looking for the new ideas, you are looking for more ideas, you are looking for the better ideas. So creative thinking is the process of nurturing your imagination, allowing you to think out of the box, and not only the stereotype kind of thing. And being able to train your mind to think creatively, it helps to invent. You can solve the problems. You can create new ideas, new products, and communicate in a fresh and new manner. Not exactly every time you are communicating in a similar manner. If you are creative, so I mean, even on communication level, creation level, you are always new, you are afresh. So that is what is the creative thinking leads. It's a where it is gone. Sorry. 1 minute. Yeah, I was here. So creative thinkers are in high demand in the job market. And creative thinking is one of the key skills needed in future jobs. I mean, this is the World Economic Forum report, and that says, like in any kind of job, when you will be going to the university, when you are finishing your courses, and you will be going to the job market. If you are a creative person, you have learned it, all the techniques of that. So, I mean, definitely you will be very well taken care by your employer. Okay. Now, there is a small news information for you. There is a report by Robinson on creativity. So, at the age of 5, a child's potential for creativity is 98%. See, 5-year child. By the age of 10, this figure has dropped to 30%. And by the age of 15, it is just 12%. And by the time we reach adulthood, our creativity has plummeted to a mere 2%. So this is, this information is to be taken care of. I mean, definitely as you grow older, definitely the creativity learning, may be hampered. I mean, because as long as you are young and small, I mean, you can learn it better. But still, I let you know the methods which I'm going to talk to you at any age, at any stage, you will be able to be more creative individual. Okay, so this is Dr. Tina Silic, as again I'm referring, has created a model, and the name of the model is Innovation Engine. It's just I will show you. It's a very simple thing. I mean, of course, apparently it looks simple, but it's a very nicely designed model. Okay, so this Innovation Engine by Tina Silic that illustrates how creativity results from the interplay of our internal world and our external environment. See, how is somebody is creative? Of course, it may be innate, it may be natural by birth, but at the same time, there are other things, which you can just, that makes an individual more creative. So there are two things. There is an internal world and an external world. We'll just see. This is the Innovation Engine, okay, by Tina Silic. Look at here, please. This is written knowledge, okay? Knowledge, imagination, and attitude. This is the inner circle of an individual. We are talking about an individual who we have to make more creative, or he is creative. Then what are those things, those makes one person a creative person? Then from outside, resources, habitat, and culture. This is the outside world. I will just show you how it works. This is, come on, look at here, the 3 parts, this internal. So knowledge provides the fuel for your imagination. So you have to, one has to be creative, one has to have sufficient knowledge. That is the first thing. When you have knowledge, then your imagination, the second, is the catalyst for the transformation of your knowledge into ideas. So once you have a knowledge, then imagination. So imagination will use your knowledge and will give new ideas. And third is, what is the attitude? This is the attitude. Your attitude is the spark that sets the innovation engine in motion. I mean, you have knowledge, it's fine. Your imagination, which is a catalyst, okay, which is transforming your knowledge into ideas. But this idea has to be, I mean, go to the level of the real creativity, then the attitude has to be there. Attitude is always very important in the life, At least one should feel that he really wants to be creative, and yeah, he can do it, yeah, that's only he can do it, otherwise you can take the horse to the water, and you just cannot force horse to drink water anyway. So now the external thing, this thing we have seen. Now it will start from the resources. Resources are all the assets in your community where you are living, in which community you are living, and what are the resources available to you. Second is habitat, your local environment, that includes your home, your school, your office. Okay, see, it is very natural, it looks, when you have more resources. Definitely, if you have more resources, that really will help any individual to be more creative, because we know, because you will be having more resources, so you will get a more chance to have more knowledge. Certainly knowledge will lead to imagination. Attitude, if you have, then comes resources, and after the habitat. This habitat is very important. Your home, your parents, if they are encouraging all your kinds of experimentation, if you are doing something new, okay, they support you. Your school, every time eager to support you for all the new kind of things. Of course, your office, suppose you are working somewhere. So if suppose this habitat is encouraging, it is supporting, for innovation, for creativity, and for doing anything new. So definitely it will enhance. And the culture. Culture is the collective belief, values, and behavior of the community. So this is what, the culture. So again, resources, habitat, and the culture. This is from outside. All these six parameters, if they are in tune with each other, in resonance, definitely an individual is going to be more creative. I hope you have just seen it carefully. Okay. Let me go ahead. So how can you jumpstart your innovation engine? This is what I was talking to you about, that you can just jumpstart your innovation engine by building your base of knowledge. That is what is required. Then which will ultimately serve as the toolbox for your imagination. Then habitat and environment, and these things I have already discussed with you. So these things will help you to be more creative. What are the variables that inhibit our creative? See, these six aspects through the innovation engine I have discussed, which helps, these are the tools and techniques to make you more innovative and creativity. But let us see what are the variable factors, that inhibit the creative abilities. So without the drive to come up with the breakthrough ideas and confidence that a creative solution exists, it is unlikely that one will be found. See, you need to be very, very positive, is it not? I don't know. You need to have that level of attitude and confidence, that really you can make it. You have to believe that every problem has many, many solutions, and out of those solutions, you have to choose the best one. Yeah. So in addition, we all live and work within communities with the culture that have a powerful impact on how we feel, think, and act. Of course, that is what we was looking at, that habitat and culture. If the culture of a community, of a society, is very encouraging for its people, to allow them to do all the new kind of things in a new manner, in new pattern, and so definitely that encouraging society will create more creative people. If the culture does not support experimentation and reward the generation of the new ideas, then it is unlikely that the creative will flourish, is it not? Your parents, your school, your colony, your city, your people, should be rewarding. If you are doing, any student, a young student doing something new in anything, in a new manner, he should be awarded. And if it goes like that, definitely the others will also be encouraged, and there will be an overall atmosphere of creativity. Okay. In the beginning, I was talking about that, how to change our frame of reference, the angle. If you remember, I was talking about the angle. When you are given a task, when you are given a problem, we are working on. So you can look at every situation, every challenge, and every opportunity from different angles. This is very important. what we are talking about creativity. We are talking about new ideas. We are talking about the fresh ideas. We are not talking about that every problem has got some stereotype answer or solutions. Okay. So for that, this is very important to have a different, you need to look a problem or a task from or any challenge from different angles. Each angle provides a different perspective on that situation and unleashes new insights. I will give some very good examples. So we are creating frames for what we see, what we hear and experience all day long. And those frames both inform and limit the way we think. That is also the problem, like we always have a fixed perspective many times. And I mean, that kind of a prejudice, for a particular kind of thing. And every time we look at the problem with one fixed angle, we don't want to change the vantage point, and every time we get the same solution. So in most cases, we don't even think about the frame. We just assume we are looking at the world with the proper set of lenses. I mean, we don't want to change the frame of reference. Okay. Now I will let you know that how it helps. Creativity we are talking about, and the critical thinking. So let me tell you about the critical thinking. What critical thinking is, and it can also be learned. See, if suppose one individual is very highly creative, and whenever a task is given, because he is a creative individual, he has come out with several possible new solutions. Now there is a single problem, and you have come up with say around 7 to 8 to 10 solutions. Now, since you are very creative, you have got many solutions. Now you at this stage need to have the ability of critical thinking. Out of those 8 solutions, how to arrive at the most appropriate or how to arrive at the best solution, that is what is known as the critical thinking, where you have to remove the lesser important solutions, and you have to arrive at the best. So this is also possible. In fact, many would argue that the critical thinking is the primary aim of formal education. That is what 21st century 4C again: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. We are talking about creativity and critical thinking. See, so this is the primary aim, critical thinking. And despite its centrality to the objective of the formal education, educational institutions, even the best ones, they struggle to help students develop it. I mean, very less opportunity for critical thinking, because every time you are given problems that have standard answers. And I mean, as a teacher, we expect from you all those standard answers. I mean, so there is very less opportunity for critical thinking and flowering, that kind of ability. Every person can improve their creative thinking skills. By doing so, it will help you create. Again, I'm saying, what is the point? If suppose you are very creative in thinking, very critical thinking, how it is going to help you? It will help you in creating whatever you are doing, interpreting, of course, and come with the solutions to challenges in your daily life routines. It is not necessarily every time you are working for somebody, for your employer, or even in your own life, you are in the school, you are dealing with your teachers, in your university, in any of the organization, and even at home also. See, now when home is there, when school is there, when university is there, when organization is there, how important it is to have the ability of to be more creative and to be critically thinker. I'm giving you one very good example, because I'm giving it because usually, we don't get this chance. In Oxford University, they do one exam, that is known as the one-word exam. And in this one-word exam, they give only one word to the students. It could be anything, maybe innocence, it may be miracle, it may be fire, it may be water, anything else, And the challenge was that, to craft an essay in 3 hours. Let us see, one word, and the student supposed to write for 3 hours. See the beauty and the freedom, and see the opportunity for the creativity. Now you have to, write and you have to stretch all your imaginations. Okay, and this is very, very popular event, and usually, this is very successful and very exciting. So, but anyway, we don't look. I mean, we don't get this kind of opportunity, for just fostering or stimulating our creativity or activating our own create, because this kind of things are very, very useful. So always keep in mind, the teachers are there. You can make use of these kind of things to enhance the creativity among your students. Okay, so creative problem solving is not considered a skill to be learned. Yeah, this is very unfortunate. I mean, this is the scenario. I mean, so creative problem solving should be encouraged. I mean, it is. I mean, and see, and it is considered, that it is not a skill. Again, the same thing. Either you have it or you don't have it. But now that is a story of the old time. We are into 21st century. We have got so many researches now present before us, and we can make use of those things. And now we can deny the fact that creativity or critical thinking, they are no more innate or by birth kind of things, characteristics. It can be learned and it can be taught. Yeah. So, yeah. One thing I want to tell, when we talk about science, what happens in the science? There are scientific methods. Suppose there is a Nobel laureate, even suppose he does something very, very extraordinary, very breakthrough. But what he does, what he or she does, he or she uses scientific methods, okay, and generating data, getting a pattern, concluding it, and then they get a Nobel Prize. That is the scientific, but the scientific methods are the tool. Similarly, creative thinking is a tool for invention. And all these Nobel laureates or all big scientific people, they are very good creative thinkers also. So creative thinking is like a scientific method, and if you want to invent rather than discover, because see, we know the invention is definitely at higher level, in the sense invention means the creation of an idea, and discovery is something, like something is hidden and you found it, maybe just by efforts or serendipitously also. So this is what I want to tell you about the scientific method and creative thinking. Okay. Innovation shrivels. Whenever I talk of innovation or creativity, they are all same thing, because once you are creative, you are innovative. But don't confuse innovation with invention. Again, I'm telling you, invention is the creation of idea. Okay, that is relatively, I mean, it's not very common, it's rare. But innovation, is a improvement in the existing facilities, and that can be done, very often. It can be learned by doing that. So here, like muscles that atrophy from lack of use, innovation shrivels up when ignored. So, I mean, in every society, the innovation should be encouraged, otherwise it's very unfortunate. And just by blindly moving ahead, individuals or society or the organizations, they fall further and further behind those who are able to creatively adapt to the ever-changing environment. This is how, as in the very beginning I said, the society or the world is divided into two parts: those who do innovations and those who do not do it. They are just following the others. So, I mean, for that, our new generation has to be very, very creative, and we have to convince to them, that it can be done. Creativity is something you do. It is not, I mean, something you think, So, I mean, it costs nothing and to generate amazing ideas, and the results are really priceless. One example regarding the creativity, let us see how, I mean, the change in the frame. Suppose you are taking a class, and you ask in the class, what is the sum of 5 plus 5? So, and instead of that, if you ask, what two numbers add up to 10? These are the two, I mean, same thing, but asked in a different manner. The first question has only one right answer. What is that? 10. But the second question has an infinite number of solutions, including negative numbers. See, it may be 1 plus 9, it may be 2 plus 8, even you can go to the minus also. These two problems, which rely on simple addition, differ only in the way they are framed. So all questions are the frame into which the answers fall. So for any problem, you have to design a question. You have to frame a question. And if the question is framed nicely, you'll get so many solutions. This is one of the example. Okay. Yes, you can see by changing the frame, we are getting so many. Instead of, you're asking what is 5 plus 5, only one answer. You are asking what two numbers 8 to make 10, you get innumerable answers. What you are changing? You are changing the frame of the question, and you are getting a lot of solutions. This is one of the very important tool. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I want to just about the Einstein, So once the Einstein quoted as saying, very beautiful, if I had an honor to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. And for once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm just showing, that when he was saying, the life depended on that solution. I mean, something very, very critical. So what he's saying, for any problem to be solved, you have to have a proper question. As I just giving an example in the previous, 5 plus 5 and all that. And once you have a proper question, the answer will be there. Mastering the ability to reframe problems. Now, we are talking about it, that we have to reframe the problems. Instead of asking in the class 5 plus 5, what is that? You have to ask, what two numbers 8 to make 10. This is one simple example. There may be many like that. So you have to mastering the ability to frame problems is an important tool for increasing your imagination, because it unfolds a lot of possible solutions, and a lot of solutions, that is the creativity. And with experience, it becomes quite natural. One more tool I'm talking about by Michael Berry. Start with why. Whenever you get a problem, if you have to solve a problem, ask questions. So there is a very simple, very effective story. It goes like, this fellow, Michael Berry, you suppose, somebody comes to you and say, that to build a bridge for me. If somebody comes to you and say, please build a bridge for me. So Berry says, you have to ask why. We are talking about why. So just ask, why do you need a bridge? Okay. So that fellow says, because I have to get the other side of the river. Okay. So then he says, don't stop here. Again, ask why you need to cross the river. And that opens, many other things. So, and you can suggest, that you can go by, by a ferry, or you can go a tunnel, or you can have a zip line, or just by boat, anything, you can cross it. But okay. Then you ask, why do you want to go to that side? He will say, I go for there to earn something. I mean, for employment. So you just can say, what is the point in going to that side? You can have a similar employment this side. So the point is that how this why, open the frame. Every time you are asking why, and you are getting lot of possible solutions, broader solutions, and more number of solutions. Okay. Okay. Entertaining. Yeah, this is another very beautiful thing, entertaining ways to practice changing your perspective. We are talking about how to change the perspective, how to ask the questions, So one of the ways is, and that is a very favorite, to analyze jokes. And jokes are funny because they change the frame of the story when we least expect it. Okay. So just by analyzing the jokes also, just by humor plays a very important role in inculcating creativity. So there is one very good joke. Two men are playing golf on a lovely day. As the first man is about to tee off, a funeral procession goes by in the cemetery next door. He stops, takes off his hat, and bows his hat. The second man playing with him, says, "Wow, you are incredibly thoughtful." The first man says, "It's the least I could do. She and I were married for 25 years." So as you see, the frame shifts in the last line. At first, the golfer appears thoughtful, but he instantly turns to a jerk, when you learn that the deceased, person was his wife. Okay. Another joke, from Pink Panther, I like it very much, and that helps in doing that. So there, the inspector goes to a hotel, and there the receptionist was there, and there was a dog also. So the inspector asked the receptionist, does your dog bite? The hotel clerk says no. And then the inspector, start playing with the dog, and the dog, the bites the inspector. So the inspector says, I thought you said your dog did not bite. So the hotel receptionist says, that is not my dog. Yeah, yeah. So reframing problems takes effort. I mean, definitely you have to learn, and these are the methods, how the frame shifts, and how the creativity. That's why, the jokes are so beautiful, and we make a lot of creativity in that, and it can be practiced. Bring in the bees. This is very important. Again, the strength, industriousness, and the wisdom of a bee symbolize to that of the Jesus Christ. The symbolism of bee in Christianity is all about, the positive and the sweet metaphor. If you focus on how the bee works, you will find new meanings to its symbol. Bee is also the symbol of the activity, work, diligence, and good order. And these are the traits, can make you very creative. I mean, you have to be very active. I mean, your activity, your work, your intelligence, and the good order. Connecting and combining. There is a book, the Kult's Book of Invention. And the goal of this book is to help readers become comfortable creating ridiculous ideas. In the very inception of this discussion, I showed, very unusual, unuseless innovations. And they initially look very ridiculous ideas, since many brilliant ideas seem really crazy when they are initially conceived. So all the initially the good ideas, they are not much appreciated. Maybe not all, but few, But again, I would say, if your home, your school, your society, is rewarding, and they are encouraging for any kind of new ideas, so definitely innovation will really be inculcated among that society. The playful invention, they describe here in the book, the connecting and combining objects, something very unusual kind of things can be connected, and out of that, you can have a good innovation. So connecting and combining. Attention, this is something very important. You have to pay attention for any of the things, any of the problem. Yeah. And I will just show you on this man, Richard Wiseman, what he has done, he's a very, very, renowned psychotherapist. And he has designed one newspaper. And in newspaper, he has given to the people, those who are very successful, and people, those who are star-crossed, those who always complain, that they are not very fortunate and all that. And in that, he has given a few small experiments, and that also works very nicely. Power of observation. All the scientists, those who are doing innovations, those who are doing inventions, they are very good noticers. You have to observe very good thing. And my last story for that, about the Charles Darwin, credited with the idea of evolution of natural selection. Probably you all know that this natural selection, the idea goes to Darwin. But how it came to Darwin, he polished his ability to pay attention during his 5-year journey on the HMS Beagle, when he was there from 1831 to 30. These 5 years, very, he polished his ability to pay attention. And upon his return to England, as he studied all the specimen and drawing, he brought back from the Galapagos Island, where he was there for a very long time, tiny differences in the beaks of finches and the shapes of tortoise shells. served as the evidence of his provocative theory. This is a very good example. I mean, and because of his keen observations, he could just give the natural, this theory of natural selection. So, what could be the better example of the power of observation? This is a table kingdom. Like it is said, like this is through in many places. Employers, they provide very small space for doing work, and that is really not a good habitat. It has been proved, by research, that unless you have a very sufficient space around you as a good, nice habitat, you cannot be a very creative person. Creativity loves constraint. I hope you will agree with me that the creativity under the gun, there is an article, and there this Amabile says that if you are, you are in trouble. I mean, if you are in constraint, then you can be more creative. And it looks sometimes, that when a lot of constraints are there, you cannot be creative. But this is not the fact. It has been proved by various experiences that when things are tight, and you're under constraint, you are more creative. So thank you very much. And this is what I talked in brief about the creativity and critical thinking. And now we can have some questions.
That was an extraordinary and inspiring session by Dr. Brijesh Pare. Now, we would like to request our most honored speaker, Dr. Brijesh Pare, to kindly answer a few questions put forth by the audience. May I request the teacher moderator to put forth the questions posed by the audience.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. And thank you, sir, for the very informative and the wonderful session on need of fostering creativity and critical thinking. Our inquisitive students have a few questions.
It's not audible to me.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for the very informative and the wonderful session on need of fostering creativity and critical thinking. Our inquisitive students had a few questions put forward. May I, sir?
It is in the chat box, or you are reading them?
Some of them have been forwarded to me, and some of them are in the chat box also. The first question I would like to put forward is, sir, in today's world, students often tend to follow some path without much provision for change. So how would you suggest we budding students to think out of box and come up something really inspiring?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, see, the onus is more on the teachers and the system, let me tell you. And see, I think most of the students, if from CBSE, even not from CBSE, I would like to refer, the new education policy by the Indian government for every level, like even school, university, or colleges. So in the guiding principle of this education policy, they have very categorically written, that everything should be done in, to encourage creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So mainly, now, as I was giving one example from the Oxford, that a very popular event they are doing, like giving a one-word exam, one-word event to the students, and the students have to write for 3 hours on one word. So what is the scope of the imagination? You can stretch to any level, and moreover, these are the exams where there is no one answer. No, it's not a kind of a standard kind of thing. Every individual can write anything about that, whatever he or she thinks. So mainly, the onus is on with the teachers, with the schools and colleges and universities, and the educationist, that to give more opportunity, and the school education and college education should be done in such a manner that, because see, one thing is for sure, that everyone is creative, okay, and so that is the good news. And if given more opportunities and more methods of doing that and techniques, So they definitely will be more encouraging. And of course, not only the school, I mean the home, the society, your own cities, towns, and everybody. I mean the whole society, the culture should be encouraging. So that is what how I look at it. The students are ready for that. I mean, students, whatever you give to them, they are ready to take it and take it forward. So the more onus is like on us, the senior people, those who are educationists, those who are teachers, and those who are the policy makers.
Thank you, sir. Another question is, what is the importance of critical thinking in the jobs of 21st century?
Yeah, definitely. What we are talking about is of 21st century only. Like, see, and the kind of any see. Let me tell you, whatever job you are doing, you have to be creative, because creativity is, it is not subject specific. I'm not saying that you have to be creative in physics or you have to be creative in biology or in chemistry. That is, the way of doing at things. Way of looking at things, way of looking at, I mean, to resolving the problem is, I'm not talking about the day-to-day problem. Of course, if you are a creative person, individual, anything at home, anything with friends, among the friends, in the society, in the organization, where you are, once you are, see, if you have the ability to look at the problem with this different perspectives, is it not? And definitely you will have more solutions to the problem. That is what is the creativity is. Okay, so whatever we are talking about, that is for 21st century only. And that is now, see, the as there was one slide I talked that the previously, the life was easier, things were not complex now, but over the years the mind has evolved, and now the mind is ready to take up the more complex problems. So nothing to be worried about, and only thing you have to inculcate that skill. And the good news is that, that it is not innate, it is not, by birth, and we can learn it.
Thank you, sir, for explaining it so well. The next question is, what skills are used in creative thinking?
Sorry.
What skills are used in creative thinking?
No, I discussed about it. No, like you have to be keen, observant. Is it not? You have to see how to reframe it. Is it not, to the problem? How to change your perspective? These are the things. These are things you have to inculcate, and you have to polish these kind of things. Yeah. The B example I have given. You have to be very orderly. You have to be diligent. Then, yeah.
And the last question is, what made you select this career path, and what message would you like to give to our dear students?
Will you please read it again? Sorry, I missed it.
What made you select this career path, and what message would you like to give to our students?
I mean, my career as a professor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I would not say that I have come accidentally here, but I wanted to be in academics, and I'm very happy because it's a constant learning opportunity. And I have been teaching at various levels, undergraduate, postgraduate, and of course research also. And for the last 30 years, and still, I mean, there is a lot of scope to learn and to teach. And I mean, it's ever growing. What I have spoken to you. Probably, last year I was not in a position to talk to my students at any stage, all these kind of things. So, I mean, it's a constant grow, you can grow and you can inculcate every time. I mean, as a teacher, you have to be learner, and that is a wonderful thing. I'm happy with that.
Thank you very much, sir, for explaining so well. And almost all the children, I think you can see it in the chat box that they are putting, it's a very informative session and they
Thank you.
enjoyed a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So nice of you. So I take leave. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir, for all
you.
your
Namaste.
support and guidance given to the large audience by attending to their concerns so patiently during the course of the discussion.
As we have come to an end of this session, I reckon it my privilege to put my gratitude into words. It is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir, the organizing team, and the entire audience, Let me first express a profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and this peaceful and prosperous country of our residence. We extend our heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Dr. Brijesh Pare, for all his words of motivation. Thank you, sir. The session
Thank you.
was truly informative and enlightening. It opened up new vistas in front of us. Our deepest gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manikyam, Chairman, a Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman, and other members of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for your encouraging presence and guidance at all times. Our sincere thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the President of Indian School Wadi Kabir Management Committee, and other members of the committee for their overwhelming encouragement at all times. I also wish to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our tower of strength and source of motivation, our beloved principal, Mr. D.N. Rao. Honorable principals of all the participating schools in the MENA region, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching community of all the participating schools for their support, guidance, and active involvement. We are indeed grateful to our platinum sponsor, StudyCo, gold sponsors, Jain University, Grey Matters Academy, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education, and Vellore Institute of Technology. Bronze sponsors, Middle East College, Thapar University, MIT World Peace University, Pune, and Dallas Baptist University. Our digital partner, Spectrum, and our media partner, The Arabian Stories, for their support in making this mega event a tangible reality. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session of our Global Career Fair, AVENIR 2021, a grand event. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. My earnest and heartfelt thank you to my ISWK team behind the scene, working tirelessly and making AVENIR 2021 a tangible reality. Thank you all. See you soon for the next session. Take care and have a wonderful day ahead.